One, two. Is this on? I've been speaking almost exclusively about comic books on Mondays, even though this is supposed to be my media day. Today I'm going to switch things up a bit. Are you familiar with the 5 year rule? The 5 year rule is the reverse to the trope known as outlive the premise. In that one, a long running work shifts its theme over time. Consider, for example, how Simpsons used to be about Bart and at some point became about Homer. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about basically the opposite. So let's start with USA Network premiered the detective comedy Psych in 2006. This was a show about Sean Spencer, who pretended his insight and observations were due to having psychic powers. This started as a lie to get him out of trouble, and then escalated into a comedy television show about him working as a consultant for a California police department. 2 years later, in 2008, CBS came out with The Mentalist. This was a show about Patrick Jane, a former fraudulent psychic now working as a consultant for the California Bureau of Investigation. Notably, CBS was one of many studios who passed on producing Psych, saying it was an unworkable concept. The 5 year rule is what makes The Mentalist a ripoff of Psych. If it had come out, say, in 2019, 5 years after Psych ended, the assumption would have been that it was a new show, a new concept. Let me explain. During the Silver Age of comics, the target audience was boys aged 9 through 11. It was expected that by the age of 12 or 13, the child would have grown out of interest. So a plot or story could be repeated after 5 years without worry that the audience would notice the duplication. It isn't exactly 5 years. It isn't like there's a ticking clock. Nobody says, hey, we have to change or remove Superman's powers to show why it's the man, not the powers, that makes him a hero. It's been 4 years since the last time, so get something scheduled, you know? Instead, it's more along the lines of time traveler Booster Gold finds out the world is wrong and has to find out where and when it changed and fix it. Wait, didn't we do this with Flash? Yes, but Flashpoint was 2011. It'll be fine. No one will notice. The Muppets on Sesame Street, for example, get retaught things every few years so that the new audience can learn alongside the Muppet. Buffy the Vampire Slayer had a suspiciously similar episode in season 7 compared to season 2. The characters even noticed the similarity as a lampshade hanging moment. Doctor Who editor Terrance Dicks used this rule to deliberately avoid strong continuity. In a day before repeated media, he said it was unreasonable to expect the entire audience to have seen a specific episode from years prior to understand what was happening without an on screen recap. Supernatural had Castiel lose his angel powers and become human twice, once in season 5 and again in season 9. Jim Cornette did this in professional wrestling. From my understanding, he thought it was a new original idea of his, which is kind of interesting. But he said that a given story can repeat after 5 years with different performers, and that the same gimmick can be recycled after 7 years, because by then they would have a mostly new audience, and the diehards who were still around from back then and remembered would be just as likely to remember it fondly than to treat it as a recycled idea. For example, in 1999, wrestler Triple H married Stephanie, the WWF's owner's daughter, and used that political power to run the show. Fast forward to 2008, and Edge is having an affair with SmackDown general manager Vicky, and using political influence to run the show. This rule bleeds into other aspects of entertainment. Magic the Gathering introduced multicolored cards in the Legends expansion in 1994, and in the Invasion expansion in 2000, and in the Ravnica expansion of 2005. Yeah, Kenner in the 90s would re-release toys with different color scheme, pretend they were brand new releases. Some people criticize the 5 year rule, even those who call it by other names, for being unimaginative and repetitive. But other people point out that every episode of a show is someone's first. Every issue of a comic book is someone's first. Every session of a published role-playing game is someone's first. And if they need to know everything that came before, that limits your audience's ability to expand. The MCU is facing this now, although with different perspectives. There's a large audience of people on both sides of the screen who point out that today's media consumption is tied to binge watching. It's something that a lot of people enjoy doing. So having a backlog of shows to catch up on is a good thing, not a bad one. So what are your opinions on this? Is it a good thing or a bad thing that there is a backlog of 55 movies and TV shows to catch someone up from Iron Man to Doomsday? 58 if you count the Disney Plus one shots. 71 if you count the Netflix shows. You get the idea. What is your opinion on getting into this as a new potential fan? Would this be overwhelming or exciting? And do you think that the industry should focus on one perspective over the other? I can honestly see it from both sides. So let me know in the comments below what your opinion is.